It's 10 p.m. in Banjul, and from our studios on MDI Road, this is the news. First, the headlines. President Jammeh and the director of the Benin-based Songhai Center discussed the Gambia's food security drive. Senegalese football star Hadji Diouf describes President Jammeh's Vision 2016 initiative as a tool capable of advancing Africa's socio-economic and political development. 8 political parties meet all requirements contained in the 2015 Elections Amendment Act, whilst 2 more failed to pass the test, according to the Independent Electoral Commission. And the Nigerian Army intensifies efforts at rescuing the hundreds of girls who were abducted from their school in Chibok against the backdrop of scaled-up efforts to recapture territory from Boko Haram. Well, viewers, these and other stories coming ahead in this half hour. I am your presenter, WINFRED NICOL. Thanks for joining us once again. The President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh Babili Mansa, this evening granted audience to Father Godfrey Zamujo, director of the Benin-based Songhai Center. Shortly after meeting, the Songhai director told Grts discussions between him and the head of state centered on supporting the Gambia's food security drive. Let's take a listen.
Godfrey, and thank you very much for granting us this interview.
Thank you.
You have had a discussion with His Excellency the President, and we would like you to take us through some key points or key areas that you've discussed with him.
Thank you very much. Because first of all, before this meeting with His Excellency, he asked me to just go and, take the temperature of the work he was doing. So yesterday I went around the country, particularly around here, to see the work the President is doing and his vision, because I wanted to understand his vision. But what really struck me was the depth of the vision. We just signed about 2 days ago in New York, throughout the world, and Gambia is a part of it, what they call COP21. This fighting against climatic change is a new sustainable development that the world is going now. So we need to develop another agriculture development that is in tune with the challenges of the world today. What is the key challenges today? Environmental degradation, climatic change, and you have youth and unemployment, and of course, food insecurity. These are not 3 or 4 different challenges, it's one. They're just like a monster with many heads. That monster is our incapacity to see what we have, what God has given us, our incapacity to unleash new forces, new ways of thinking, so that we can face effectively these challenges today, with triple challenges: environmental degradation, food insecurity, and unemployment over there. So what I saw yesterday, particularly in the farms around, is a new type of agriculture that I believe in, agriculture that is distributed, dancing with nature instead of forcing nature, doing a new type of agriculture that is for producing healthy food, for healthy living, for healthy aging in an ever-growing population today is a challenge. The old agriculture yesterday was producing less with more. But what I saw, the vision of the President today, is how to harness environmental capital of Africa to create, to produce more with less, by dancing with nature, by not forcing nature. I was pleasantly surprised. And I was asking myself, when does the President have the time? He says running a country, but also being passionate about this type of agriculture that is so new, that is so powerful today. So I came to thank him for that one, and also how to work with him. And people say you must stand on the shoulder of giants to see very far. He's done his work. As the head of state, as our leader today, we have the obligation to support him. As technicians, when our leaders give us the marching order, we have the responsibility to understand their vision and to add our own and run it. So that's what I thought today. I told him, and what I thought I understood from his vision, and he confirmed it, is what he wants to do. A new type of agriculture that can produce more with less, that can create jobs, that also establish Africa has been, the president said today, Africa has been exporting wealth, importing poverty. That is very strong. I agree with him because we produce raw materials, we do every kind of thing. Whenever we buy finished products, we are creating unemployment. And the president said it beautifully well today. What do we do? So we have to do primary agriculture that is sustainable, that is working, productive, environmental safe, but also value addition by creating the industry behind it. So we're creating jobs everywhere. We are doing it here ourselves by producing the products here, giving them the value here, transforming them here, processing them here, creating industry. But also the third one, services, selling our own thing. From that, we're now on the driver's seat, So this is what we discussed today. How can Africans use their brains, see what God has given us, and harness them effectively to solve our problems today? And I think I told him that I'm going to be a part of this project today. I'm going to be a part of this vision by starting tomorrow to really work with him and the Gambian government and people to make sure that agriculture in the Gambia becomes an example of real, sustainable, productive agriculture that could be a takeoff. One thing again, agriculture can become a weapon of mass construction. You heard about W. Bush talking about weapon of mass destruction, but agriculture can become, in the vision of the president, a weapon of mass construction. Agriculture has been used, as the president said today, a weapon of oppression. But when you don't eat, you can't do anything. So people don't understand it. It is strategy. Food is strategic. Because, today, the biggest responsible element in disease today is food. It's related to food. We're importing bad food that is not light to our own thing, that we are paying much money to do it. And this food is killing us. Like the apple you see around. Apple. Radiated apple. No apple here you see in the Gambia, in West Africa, in Nigeria and Benin that is less than 2 years old. Radiated. So it's not good food. It's something killing us. So why can't we produce what we eat and eat what we produce? And that vision of the president is something all Africans must not just follow, but unleash the biggest force we have to be on that line. So this is what we talked about today, and I'm leaving the Gambia this evening, really feel that we have leaders who are thinking about Africa, who are ready to lead our people, who believe in Africa, and who are ready to do everything to make sure that the pride of Africa is restored today. We just began about 9 months ago, just beginning. And just the beginning here, the president saw it and he was impressed. And that's why he's calling me again to be more involved in the agriculture in the country. It is doing very well. We're showing that we can do what they call agroecological type of things here, an agriculture that is ecologically sensitive, that instead of, importing type of thing, we're using what God has given us to create wealth, to create good food, and not to poison ourselves. That's what Chairman is doing. That's what Songhai Gambian Initiative is doing again.
Good evening, Father Godfrey, and thank you very much.
Father Godfrey Zamujo, director of the Benin-based Songhai Center there, talking to reporters after a meeting with Professor Jammeh. Senegal football icon Hadji Diouf has spoken highly about President Jammeh's Vision 2016 initiative, describing it as a tool to advance Africa's socio-economic and political independence. Diouf was speaking during a tour of the president's rice farm in Pacha, Central River region, where he met farm managers and workers. And as we hear in this report by Momodou Jallo, the former football star, who owns some farms in his native country, believes there is a lot Africans can learn from the president's farming activities.
Pachar, site of the President's Vision 2016 farms. This vast expanse of land stretches as far as the eye could see, all cultivated with rice, the Gambia's staple food. These fields often attract high-profile visitors, eager to see firsthand the Gambia's march to national food self-sufficiency. The latest visitor to make it to Pachar is Senegalese football icon Hadji Diouf. The visit provided him the rare opportunity to see the vast fields currently under cultivation and the techniques employed by farm workers. With production currently in full swing, Diouf was amazed with the state of the crop, which is almost maturing, and he could only marvel at what he has seen convinced beyond doubt that the Gambian leader was indeed steering his country on the right course towards total socio-economic independence.
damay gërëm ki nga xam ne mooy borom dëkk bi muy Excellency Yaya Jammeh fanam laa woon bu njëkk mais gën naa nekk fanam encore ndax lii moom mooy futuru Africa mooy futuru Africa mooy futuru Gambia de nit ki nag comme li may wax rek boo amul indépendance li ngay lekk te ñun africain te ñun sénégalais ñun gambien dañuy lekk ceeb guddi bëccëg ak ngoon donc maa ngi wax gambien yëpp ñu àndan moom joxe seen doole ci lii ndax lii moom mooy futuru Gambia mooy futuru Africa ku ma fonkoon la mais tey gën naa ko fonk ndax am na fu mu bëgg yóbbu dëkkam.
Diouf admits that he is a dedicated farmer owning large hectares of land currently under cultivation in his native Senegal. He however considered that he still has a lot to learn from Professor Jammeh, as he has never seen or imagined something like this, particularly as far as rice cultivation is concerned. He therefore had a message for the African youth, most of whom son farming nowadays for city life or travel abroad.
man de maa ngi wax gone Gambia ñëw leen ngeen jàppale ko ndax kii fi mu leen bëgg yóbbu fii fi mu leen bëgg yóbbu xam na ko te xam na ne lii mooy ëllëg tey boo gisee Asia lu tax mu am doole ndax si ceeb bi ndax tey jii kuy lekk ceeb guddi bëccëg angoon il faut que tamit nga jàpp ci liggéey pour suba ñu gis fi satisfaction ndax dégg naa bi mu ko commencé sax yàggul mais lii moom wonderful lii moom lu wonderful la te maa ngi koy rafetlu maa ngi koy jàppale di wax sax sama mbokk sénégalais yi tamit ñi nekk foofu ñi nga xam ne am na lu ñu def bu ñu bëggee ñëw fii liggéey si day welcome.
The farm manager Major Sidi Balde, who welcomed the former football star, was highly appreciative of the visit, calling on the youth to venture into agriculture alongside sports, citing Hadji Diouf as a typical example.
Today I am very, very happy to see sportsmen, example like Hadji Diouf and others, coming to visit the field. That alone is a pride for us, because sport goes with agriculture. If you are from sport, you go back to the field. So if the sportsmen are now taking the lead, coming and then seeing and then want to replicate that to their own various areas, that is a blessing.
After a brief tour of the farm, which took him to the limits, where he also saw ongoing works on extensions, Diouf joined the local women for a dose of hospitality, which is typical anytime a high-profile visitor comes. Later in the evening, Diouf traveled to the president's hometown of Kanilai for a safari visit. The visit took him to the crocodile pool, where he saw one of the reptiles out of the estimated 300 animals that live in this pond. From there, he saw the hyenas in their enclosure before finishing off with a close encounter with the snakes kept at the reservoir. Diouf capped up his visit by meeting the president, His Excellency Sir Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh Babili Mansa, at an Islamic religious gathering in the presidential compound. Professor Jammeh welcomed Diouf, thanking him for making the visit to Kanilai, and spoke of the importance of nurturing Gambia-Senegal relations, which predate colonialism and transcend boundaries. Professor Jammeh said he bears no ill will against Senegal or its people, adding that he will always champion the interest and welfare of the two peoples and Africa in general. He finally called on the people of the two countries to promote peace and enhance the existing socio-cultural relations, which cannot be broken by anyone, however much they may try. Mamadou Diallo, Grts News.
When Hadji Diouf arrived in the Gambia late Friday evening, few anticipated any headline-making stories from the former African Footballer of the Year. Few days later, he made the headlines on the country's leading newspaper, The Daily Observer. That was in reference to his comments on how Gambian football can export its most talented young players. Diouf is in the Gambia as a special guest of the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia. Babakar Senghor reports.
This boy, they're so great, man. They played good football and they're so wonderful. I hope only one thing. They look after them so well and they go to the right club.
It was a bold and strong message that strikes a chord with what is a norm in Gambian football. But can this timely intervention redefine the way Gambian clubs and football agents export players? The twice former Africa Footballer of the Year was in his elements here, acknowledging and identifying talent in Gambian football. but it was his sharp focus on how these talents are honed that caught the attention.
I don't want to see this boy going to Norway, Sweden, or somewhere else to kill themselves. They're so good. Seriously, the number 3, the number 4, they're unbelievable players. And I think so if the Federation of Football of Gambia look after these boys, they can one day play to the African nation. Why not for the World Cup?
Diouf, who is in the country as special guest of the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia Awards night, took time to watch the Gambia under-20 team play the second leg of their double-header with Sierra Leone at the Independence Stadium. The former Lens, Liverpool and Leeds United attacker highlighted the need for a revisit the way young footballers are treated. It's important we send our players to the better leagues in places like England and France, he told waiting reporters shortly after the Gambia under-20 side's 2-0 home win over Sierra Leone under-20.
You came through the same process to become the best in Africa. What message do you have for these young ones?
To believe themselves and don't accept what any agent come here to ask them to go to Sweden, Norway, and or Israel, somewhere else, like they can play good football and people can see them to play good football. I want this boy to go to, like what they say, France or England to play and to learn highest level, because I tell you the truth, if you look after these boys, they can play anywhere around the world.
Diouf watched the action in the VIP section of the old stadium and was visibly impressed with what he saw. There is talent here, adding that the young Scorpions are capable of achieving great things. It was a simple message for Gambian football authorities, one which can serve this country and those hoping to make the grades and become top professionals in Europe. Hadji Diouf did just that, and for many his message was a timely reminder. For this was a man who did the world of African football proud on the global stage. For Grts News, this is Babukar Senghor.
The Gambia's cashew sector has huge potential and perhaps offers one of the most dynamic alternatives of the country's main cash crop, groundnut. The Gambia's high-quality cashew are said to command a premium price from international buyers. Samuel Bach takes a closer look at the activities of Group Jubo, an association based in Fas Njagachoy, and how they are tapping into the growing sector.
The Group Jubo Cashew Processors of Fas Njagachoy, with funding support from the International Relief for Development, are leading the crusade to increase cashew output in Lower Nyomi district. The day-long ceremony for the cashew farmers, processors, and their partners was meant to showcase the various foods derived from the cashew apple and nuts. The women group led by Aissatou Sow have been introduced to innovative growing, harvesting, and processing techniques of the cashew to move beyond subsistence into market-oriented production.
This occasion today is as a result of training that we have given to members of the Group Jubo in the name of Aissatou Sow, the president. Last year we took her to Ziguinchor for a training, a one-week training on how to process cashew apple into different recipes and products. So when she came back, she tried to replicate the learning that she has made. But that has not been the beginning of our relationship with Group Jubo. We have worked with Group Jubo since 2010, when we helped them install a processing unit, cashew nut processing unit, of capacity of almost 80 metric tons per year.
Aissatou and colleagues are now able to easily process the cashew apple or nuts into cream, juice, snacks, butter, cake, soups, and sauces of various kinds. Nutrition experts say the IRD-funded scheme could lift hundreds more from poverty to middle-class lifestyles due to the numerous benefits associated with the wonder crop.
Before we came to the processing, they were operating as a farmer field school. When we came, we took the approach of farmer field school, where we bring farmers together who were producing cashew, to promote the better production of cashew. That is the best practices that should be adopted by farmers so that they can achieve quality. That is how it all started.
Cashews are typically found either roasted or salted, but their uses go well beyond that. And with the success stories of the Group Jubo cashew processors, there could be great need to extend to other regions where cashew production is picking up.
Today, I express my utmost happiness coming here because what I've been seeing out here at Fast Nyaga Choi is very, very impressive. They are well aware of what they're doing, and they are really pushing the cashew business forward. And us as an NGO, IRD, we are doing all our best for them to advance to the upper level.
You know, you can derive a whole lot of products from cashew. Previously, people produced the cashew just for the nuts, but we have seen through research and through trials, you know, you can make a lot of products from the cashew apple, because people just leave the cashew apple to rot in the village, in the fields. You know, there was no much use for it. Once they collect the nuts, they throw it away and then it just rots in the field. But we've seen that, and also with the concern of farmers, they think that something could be done to see that they also gain from the cashew apple.
Aissatou Sow, the president of the group, was full of praises for IRD for sending her to neighboring Senegal on a cashew processing training. This, she added, has given her and her colleagues renewed impetus on their economic activities. The Imam of Fas, Alhaji Tafsir Omar Choi, himself a renowned cashew farmer, called on all cashew processors to show greater commitment to increase cashew output. Imam Choi also called on young people to venture into the trade and stop risking their lives to the back way. Lady Councillor Fatou Sanko applauds the IRD and called on the women to embrace the project to take cashew business regionally and beyond. This exhibition of various cashew recipes, according to the organizers, is just a fraction of what they are doing in terms of promoting best practices in cashew production. Farmers and processors in the cashew sector could be supported to harness their potential in the sector and supplement the performance of the groundnut industry. Samuel Ba, GRTS.
The Independent Electoral Commission has issued a press release with a view to making public the status of political parties as per the 2015 Elections Amendment Act. 8 parties, namely the Alliance for Patriotic Reorientation and Construction, APRC, United Democratic Party, UDP, National Reconciliation Party, NRP, People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism, PDOIS, National Convention Party, NCP, People's Progressive Party, PPP, Gambia Moral Congress, GMC, and Gambia Party for Democracy and Progress, GPDP, have met all the requirements and are bona fide political parties registered with the Commission. According to the release, National Alliance for Democracy and Development, NADD, the dispatch reveals, has notified the Commission of its dissolution, whilst the National Democratic Action Movement, NDAM, has not met the requirements and is thus not recognized as a party. Likewise, Gambia Democratic Party, GDP. Still on election matters, the Independent Electoral Commission will conduct a by-election to fill the vacant seat of Councillor for Sarangai Ward, Basse Ewe Council, on Thursday, 28 April 2016. A news release from Election House states that the election will be contested by Mr. Karamo Toure of APRC and Mr. Lamin Fati, an independent candidate. According to the Elections Amendment Act 2015, the dispatch states polls will open at 8 a.m. and close at 5 p.m. Counting of votes, according to the release, will be done immediately after the close of polls, whilst the collation of results will be held at the IEC Basse Regional Office. Those registered during the 2016 supplementary registration of voters will not be able to vote in the said by-election, but there are still legal requirements to be fulfilled with regards to the supplementary voter list, the release concludes. The youth of the West Coast region village of Yuna organized a mass political rally over the weekend ahead of the December 1st presidential election. The rally comes at a time when different settlements within the region are competing to show their support and unalloyed loyalty to the APRC standard bearer. Details in this report by Famara Kani.
platforms where the APRC party hunt for followers, but they are used by the party to unify its members as a peaceful front to challenge its few critics. These were the words of the party general mobilizer Lord Mayor Yankuba Koli whilst addressing a mass political rally in Yuna. The party, which led the Gambia's historic revolution on the 22nd July 1994, has ushered in a series of developments with special emphasis on youth and women empowerment. Honorable Babu Gay Sonko described President Jammeh as a development-oriented leader. He went on to count the numerous strides undertaken by President Jammeh to develop the human resource base of the Gambia, citing the country's only university as an example. He called on all Gambians not to believe in critics of the APRC who continue to post negative images of the Gambia on different social medias across the world. According to him, their actions portray violence and shows their lack of love for the Gambia and her people.
The young people of this country will never and ever be used. And by look at what we've gained and the empowerment that we have under the able leadership of Professor Dr. Hadji Diouf, definitely is second to none. As you said, anywhere you go to this country, the youths are empowered. No need to mention some of the key areas, but if you go to the legislature, the young people have been empowered. You go to the executive, you find the young people. You go to the judiciary, you find the young people. And in all walks of life, young people are enjoying and they have been empowered. So obviously we are no more a fool, and our conscience are cleared. What we are looking for is the Gambia, and we are sending this message to everybody that Gambia is not for sale. The young people of this country are aware, and they know what is good for the Gambia, and we'll make sure we die by the truth.
The party's Secretary General Honorable Bala Gaba Chahumpa, whose eloquence in speech is unquestionable, seized the occasion to call on all Gambians to desist from tribalism and rally behind Professor Jammeh to attain all his development aspirations. Jahumpa acknowledged that the greatest beneficiaries of President Jammeh's 21 years of rule are youth and women.
Where is this reactionary view that is being preached that the Gambian youths are marginalized? That is an error. It is reactionary. Under His Excellency President Yahya Jammeh Babili Mansa, look at the amount of Gambian youths that are studying in the United States of America. Gambian youths are studying in the United Kingdom. Gambian youths are studying in India. Gambian youths are studying to be doctors in Cuba. Gambian youths are studying to be doctors in Venezuela. Gambian youths are also studying in India. So this is the future of the Gambia. And who is responsible? Apart from Allah, His Excellency, President Yahya Jammeh Babili Mansa. Recently, you have also seen the youths that have returned from Benin, from the Shanghai Agricultural Project, which we also have here at the North Bank at Chamen, the Shanghai Agricultural Center, which is also empowering Gambian youths to be involved in agriculture. There is nothing demeaning about being a farmer. Some of the richest people in this universe are farmers. My fellow Gambians, Gambian youths, the future is yours under His Excellency President Yahya Jammeh Babili Mansa.
As villages and towns are massively competing within the West Coast region ahead of the December 1st presidential elections, the Deputy Governor of the region, Musa Amul Nyasi, reiterated the necessity for party supporters to cast their votes on the day of elections as one of their constitutional requirements.
We are a well-sensitized youth. Post whatever you want to post in whatever social media you want to use. Gambian youths are aware. Gambian youths are awakened, Gambian youths are intelligent, Gambian youths can distinguish between the truth and the lies. Nobody can deceive us. We will stand by the truth, we will stand for the development of the nation, we will stand for our own interests. Because it's the Gambia that we see, it's the Gambia that we have, and it's the Gambia that we will always stand for.
Several speakers, including the Alcala of Yuna, Julde Bah, hailed President Jammeh's love for the Gambian people and promised their unflinching support to him and his government. With the number of support President Jammeh has within the West Coast region, they are optimistic that the greater percentage of votes in the December 1st presidential elections will come from them instead of the North Bank, which still holds the baton. GRCS News, I am Famara Kane.
We will be back with news from outside the Gambia after this break. Stay tuned.
QCell's Kodo mobile money, you can now send and receive money anytime, anywhere. QCell's Kodo also lets you buy QCell credit, Q-Power, and lots more. For more information, call 133. QCell's Kodo mobile money. Sunyu Sim, Sunyu Kalpe, Sunyu Bus.
Welcome back. CNN has been following the search for the Chibok Girls. Hundreds are still missing after Boko Haram took them from a Nigerian boarding school 2 years ago. And the last time some of them were seen was on a video sent by the terror group of negotiators and Proof of Life. Some other girls were taken away on Christmas Day, just over 4 months ago. And it is renewing calls for the Nigerian government to bring the girls home. Now, the search and battle to retake territory from Boko Haram has led the Nigerian army to the Sambisa forest. CNN's Nima Elbager has been given unprecedented access to that effort, and she now reports.
A market in Maiduguri.
Two men sowing absolute panic, both suspected terrorists, quickly, they say, subdued. Normality returned, but it gives you a sense of the tension here. As Boko Haram have lost their territorial footprint, or much of it, they're growing increasingly reliant on unleashing waves of suicide bombers into the heart of Maiduguri and beyond.
In a city on edge, no one is above suspicion. Maiduguri is at the heart of the Nigerian army's campaign to retake Boko Haram territory. Under Operation Lafiadola, peace by any means, spread out across the country's vast northeast. The road to the Sambisa forest, or what's been cleared so far. Relentless heat bears down on our heavily armored convoy.
Delta Foxtrot Alpha for Golf 3 check. Inform all the boys to be very vigilant. Over.
Soft sand, ideal hiding holes for IEDs. The scout in the lead car directing our convoy on and off the track.
2 years ago, when we visited Chibok after the mass abduction of the Chibok schoolgirls, parents described to us how they followed the trail of their daughters to the front gate, to the entry point of the Sambisa forest, and were unable to move any further. This is the Sambisa. The Nigerian government has been able to start clawing back territory here from Boko Haram, but the Sambisa fortress, the territory right in the center, that is still where they're moving towards.
And this is where some of the Chibok girls are believed to still be held.
Let's say you're out on a patrol like this. What are your scouts looking for? Are they looking for tracks? Are they looking for do they specifically know that this area will have had heat signals? Are you using thermal imaging? What techniques are you using to get you closer?
Yeah, I would say we have a paucity of the necessary multipliers like the thermal imaging talking about, but we rely on a lot on the Americans that have provided the ISR planes, give some form of information as to cluster of groups of persons. We try to search out for footprints, and sometimes we see children, their footprints on the ground.
As if on cue, a surveillance plane flies overhead, one of the eyes in the sky.
Here, and then...
Back in Maiduguri, the operations theater commander, Major General Leo Erabor, tells us he's proud of his men, but they are in need of more international support.
Why do you think it's taking so long to find the girls?
Well, the question of Chibok girls remains a sore point in our history. We think that from the intelligence available to us, that the remaining areas that we're working to move into, we want to see if we're able to rescue the Chibok girls.
Erabor is tasked with both following the girls' 2-year-old trail and waging war against Boko Haram's brutal insurgency in the face of heightening frustration.
It's a huge challenge, and the mandate is enormous. But currently, we've come very far in achieving that mandate.
But the threat remains.
The threat remains, of course, just like in our other areas.
The commander allowed us to join his men moving east towards the Boko Haram front lines to see for ourselves. Boko Haram do indeed appear to have been pushed back, but their presence lingers. Everywhere you look, scenes of devastation.
All the way through our journey cross-country, we've seen village after abandoned village, devastated, destroyed. What Boko Haram couldn't loot, they attempted to burn to the ground, and people are still too afraid to come back to their homes.
And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. President Jammeh and the director of the Benin-based Songhai Center have been discussing the Gambia's food security drive. Senegalese football star Hadji Diouf has described President Jammeh's Vision 2016 initiative as a tool capable of advancing Africa's socio-economic and political development. 8 political parties have met all requirements contained in the 2015 Elections Amendment Act, whilst 2 more failed to pass the test, according to the Independent Electoral Commission. And the Nigerian army is intensifying efforts at rescuing the hundreds of girls who were abducted from their school in Chibok against the backdrop of scale-up efforts to recapture territory from Boko Haram. Well, viewers, that was all in this edition of the News at 10. From me, WINFRED, NICOL, and the entire news team, thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do stay with us.